Do you think peer-to-peer will stay in FromSoftware games forever? I think I probably need to make a vid about that at some point, like how pretty much the community overall is, and I mean it's gamers in general are pretty ignorant about the benefits and the drawback of servers and peer-to-peer. People think that servers are going to help or save this game, which is not the case. The peer-to-peer thing isn't actually the issue here. If anything, people don't realize this, but you're actually going to make latency worse if you go with server as opposed to peer-to-peer. The problem is that there is no like packet compensation for packet loss. There's no like compensation, and it doesn't boot people offline, like when they're laggy basically. Peer-to-peer is basically the fastest way we have right now available for like connecting with someone else, because the connection is direct between the two players. So it's the fastest we got. And then after that, when you stop and you think about it, there's really only a few issues, because FromSoftware actually, like, you start to appreciate what FromSoftware does after you look at other games that try to emulate the same thing. Like for instance, Lords of the Fallen, who tried to have a working multiplayer, but they had everything work on the host side. Basically how shooters were made like 10-15 years ago, and it just doesn't work like that. FromSoftware has it where there are checks where some things need to happen on your screen and some things need to happen on your opponent's screen and some things need to happen on both screens, and they pick and choose and decide what needs to happen on each other's screen. And that's not just for Souls game, even Armored Core. Like there's a ton of, like, honestly, like every fucking Armored Core channel complains about the networking and like how the connections handle in Armored Core 6. And as much as you guys know, I'm very critical of Armored Core 6 PvP, the issue here is not. It's really not the network, because if you stop and you look at what FromSoftware has done with, let's say, Armored Core 6, they made it so that missiles are only on the defender side, which means that you can visually dodge missiles and the attacker does not need to have the missiles hit on their screen. So it makes it like perfect for what it's supposed to be doing. Then you have to look at it the other way. Like, okay, you have lasers. Some people are asking for lasers to be on the defender side as well so they can dodge it. Problem with that, and why FromSoftware doesn't do it, is that you'd never be able to hit lasers on any amount of latency, like decent amount of latency. So FromSoftware is actually pretty smart in what they pick and choose to decide, like, what do they prioritize on the attacker's side and defender's side. And it's been like that for a while. Dude, the recovery there was so low, I was surprised. Alright, let's I think did I tank it? Alright, let's heal up. Okay, let's just kill this guy though. Wow, that was queued. Insane. Just missed our chance at killing him. Huh. This guy is getting like a bit too lucky for my taste. This is just getting stally. But yeah, going back to our topic about how FromSoftware like handles connection, they do a pretty good job at deciding like what should happen on each other's side. And that's usually a lot of where other games fall short. And they keep improving on like every single one of their game. Like if you think about it, you go back to Armored Core 4 Answer or Armored Core 4, everything has to happen on the guy who's receiving the hits. Therefore, it's almost impossible to hit someone on high latency, which really breaks the PvP. So that was not good. Then you have Armored Core Verdict Day in 5, which worked pretty well. Like pretty much everything happens on the attacker's side. Although, again, there, like, you can get hit by missiles like while behind walls because it's not defender's side. So Armored Core 6 actually improves upon a lot of good ideas for how the networking is supposed to work here. And I give this the example of Armored Core because there's not as many like minute detail, like different things that work differently in Souls that I can think of right now. Alright, dude, this is getting fucking boring. We'll just... what is it? Let's kill that mage. Blocked by Rot, my favorite. There you go. Now let's go kill the host. So, like for instance, what if we keep going in that conversation, while they do a lot of good decisions, they're still not perfect. They still need to improve upon some things. Like for instance, I never said that online publicly yet, but I told Steel about this one time. How I think Armored Core should have handled kick a bit similarly to how Souls handles dodging, whereas kicks right now work on the attacker side, so the kick need to connect on the attacker for the kick to register. If it worked on defender side like the community is asking, you'd never be able to land kick, which is not good either. The solution here is actually to give specific iframes just for kick, not for weapons, not for attacks, but iframes that only applies to kicking when using like quick boost, so that you can iframes kick on your screen, basically. That's really the solution to the kicking problem in Armored Core. So that's like a detail. Now, let's go back to Souls because that's what you guys care about. If we talk about Souls, the same thing really applies. Like right now, the way attacker side and defender side checks work is actually pretty good because like you just take LD, what the fuck? You just take like any player that have high latency. The problem is that after a certain point, the game reaches a state where there is an infinite amount of iframe. So like the desync between attacker and defender side overlaps. Here the solution is either two things. Either you make the hits only need to register on the defender screen, so basically you'd be able to roll catch someone even if you don't necessarily hit them on your screen. Now the reason why they don't do that is that would look janky, even though that would fix the latency problem. So the better solution here is actually to balance the game around that latency effect, to make it so that while spamming roll, there's less iframe than active frame when you're spamming roll. The moment there's at least one active frame between each roll, even on like the perfect like desync where people are in iframe on your screen and in iframe and in active frame on their screen, and then active frame on your screen, then iframe on their screen, and that inverse. Basically, you just nullifies the effect of infinite iframe by having a greater amount of active frames. I hope it's not too complicated, but this is basically how you fix it. So we're actually not that far from having something good. Now, obviously, that doesn't fix every connection problem. Like, I still think that FromSoft needs to improve upon the way they handle they handle lag in general in their game. Like, people are extremely laggy and skippy in Souls games because there's nothing that the game does to compensate for packet loss or to boot people offline for that matter. Like, these things should be a given and are a given in most games. It's just that FromSoftware is lagging behind like grossly here. Bro, this guy has Sword Seal and no armor. Oh, dude, Brenna, that's such a good point. You played Dark Souls 3 yesterday and you forgot about summon lag. Like, what the fuck is going on? Yeah, that's another thing. Like, Elden Ring fixed summon lag for us. Like, before, every time someone would join a session, we would get summon lag. So FromSoftware improved in that regard as well. So when you stop and think about it, they're actually not that bad at all compared to everyone else. It's just that they're lacking in a few specific areas that could be extremely game-changing if they like addressed it. But it's not the peer-to-peer. Like, a server won't really help our cause. Actually, it would make it worse. Put my points into whatever I want for, like, said stream, and then I just reload my save and delete my save when I'm done with it. And then start over. That's how I can bring, like, more builds here, but it's kind of a tedious process and not ideal. Oh, wrong goal is here. Oh, this guy's laggy. Hit me before the animation. Oh, very laggy, actually. Careful. I knew that was coming. Okay, let's play a little bit more, more like the giant, actually. This guy's so laggy.